You know that feeling when a problem just seems way too big to solve? Well, this is a story about that. It's about how one tiny, almost invisible act on a regular, busy footpath ended up sparking a huge change. And it didn't start with some big, fancy plan. It started with a single piece of trash and a really surprising moment of truth. So let's start with a really simple question. Who litters? I mean, we see it every day on our streets. And we always wonder, who's actually doing this? But what if the person responsible is a lot closer than we think? This very question is where our whole story really kicks off. I'm sure you've heard this before, right? India can never be clean. It's this feeling of, what can you do? This idea that the problem is just too massive to even bother with. It's a super common way of thinking, and it's exactly where we find our main character, Rohan. And right away, here's the crazy disconnect. Check this out. On one hand, you've got Rohan posting on his Instagram story about the sad reality of our country. But literally moments before that, he finished his chips and just tossed the empty packet onto the footpath. It's a perfect example of seeing the problem everywhere except in your own reflection. So who is this guy Rohan? Well, he's a final year engineering student from Surat. He's got these big dreams of moving abroad. And yeah, he's a bit of a complainer about the system, the people, the roads, you name it. Back home, his mom is always on his case about using a dustbin, but it pretty much goes in one ear and out the other. He's honestly pretty relatable. We've all known a Rohan, or maybe even been a little bit like him. And this is his classic excuse. Whenever his mom calls him out, he says, "Mom, this is a mentality problem. Change will only come when people improve." But listen to who he's blaming, this vague, faceless group called people. It never occurs to him that, hey, he's one of those people. But then, one day, a really small moment happens, and it changes absolutely everything for him. This is his turning point. So one day, he sees his younger brother, Arav, about to throw a candy wrapper on the ground. Rohan stops him, tells him to use the dustbin. And Arav just looks at him and says, "But you do the same thing." Wow. Just a simple sentence from a little kid. But for Rohan, it was like a punch to the gut. Later that night, something just clicks in his head. He starts looking around, and it's like he's really seeing things for the first time. The house is spotless, but the street right outside is filthy. Everyone complains, but nobody actually does anything. The difference was so stark, he just couldn't ignore it anymore. So that realization pushes him to do something. But that first step, it wasn't heroic or cool. It was just, it was awkward. The very next day, he's on that same footpath, and he sees a wrapper on the ground. He stops. And you can just imagine him hesitating, right? He can feel people watching him, wondering what he's doing. It's super uncomfortable. But he does it anyway. He bends down, he picks it up, he walks over to the dustbin, and he throws it away. That's it. No slow-motion camera, no applause, just a quiet little moment of change. So what was his reward for doing the right thing? Praise? A thank you? Nope. He got mockery. People who saw him started laughing, sarcastically calling out, "Hey, look, the Clean India ambassador has arrived." So yeah, his first step toward making a difference was met with total ridicule. But here's the thing. Rohan didn't stop. He kept doing it. And this is where the story gets really, really good. That one little awkward action started to create a ripple effect. It was slow at first, but it became incredibly powerful. And this just shows you the incredible power of just sticking with it. Day one, it's just one wrapper. A week later, it's become a habit for him, even though people are still staring and laughing. But then, a few weeks in, something amazing happens. An older uncle who sees him every day just silently joins in and picks something up. Then a kid does it. Then his own brother, Arav, starts doing it. And by the end of the month, that footpath looks noticeably different. And this is such an important point. The goal wasn't perfection overnight. The footpath still wasn't perfectly clean, but it was so much better. You could see real, actual progress, and it all started because one person just decided to do something. This whole experience completely reshaped Rohan's worldview. He finally got it. He finally understood his own role in the big, messy system that he loved to complain about. This pretty much says it all, doesn't it? His thinking did a complete 180. Before, his whole attitude was, the problem is the system. He was pointing his finger at something out there. But after, he realized, the problem is that I am also part of the system. He went from blaming everyone else to taking ownership. And when he shared this new way of thinking online, the response was completely different. It wasn't about getting a bunch of passive likes anymore. People who read his post were genuinely inspired to act. Some of them actually went out and did the same thing. His real-world actions sparked real-world change in others. Which brings us to this simple but incredibly powerful number. The truth is, it doesn't take 1.4 billion people to clean a country. It doesn't take a new law or a government program. It just takes one person. It takes one person who decides to say, the beginning starts with me. And that kind of leaves us with a question, right? After hearing a story like this, about how one person can start a ripple, what beginning will you start today?
एक कदम विकसित भारत की ओर।